Question. Serious question. This is about artificial intelligence and its limits and its capability. And it's definitely something I've been thinking about, especially today. So I was thinking about writing a story as I normally do, and my stories always have point and purpose. So I started out with a guy, let's call him Greg. So Greg is actually heir to a throne for a fictional country. I'll call it Country A. It's a small European country, probably about 5 acres. There are countries smaller than that. I looked it up. Well, he gives up his rights to the throne for an American woman. And he decides to give up his right and leave with the woman. Despite. Now, he has a brother, called the brother Greg. Well, he's Greg, so we'll call the brother Phil, and the sister Allison. Okay? So he leaves his king David. That's his father, and his mother is Louise. Leaves David, Louise, Philip, and Allison. This small kingdom. Now, the kingdom is geographically important. It's in the mountains of Europe, maybe the Alps, and it's flat land, so it provides a connection for a railroad, a pipe, and other systems back and forth. So the kingdom has some money based on the fact that European countries and United States countries pay to run these pipes and this train system in Europe because it's the easiest way, and they own the property, so they get fees. Okay? So he's giving up a kingdom that's relatively small, but still a kingdom, that gets a stip in the fees for running these pipes, lines, trailways going through Europe, because it's the best way to go in the mountains. Okay? And they have some farmland, and they grow winery. They actually have their own wine that's pretty popular among Europeans and other people all over the world. So Greg gives all this up, the kingship, because he's the oldest, and he leaves and he goes with the woman. When the woman finds out he cuts off, he finds out that the woman is a gold digger. Leaves him flat. Embarrassed, humiliated, he refuses to go back to his home country and ask for forgiveness and ask for a title back. He also, because he understands that his country is very geographically important, that he can't be found out that he's there, because he'll be in danger because they might kidnap him or something like that, or at least in his imagination. So he's already embarrassed. Through a series of unfortunate events, he is able to get a new identity. So Greg becomes Carl. So now he's Carl, living in New York City, gets a regular job working as a corporate drone. And he meets a girl, Susan. Susan is African American. He is white. That will be important in a minute. So he meets her. Susan has no idea Carl used to be Greg. They has inheritance. They has all this thing they gave up. She just thinks he's a guy that works as an office drone, or a cashier, or something. Either way, doesn't have any idea about his other identity. 25 years pass. Unfortunately, Susan, they have 3 children together. Unfortunately, Susan dies of cancer. Unfortunate. Now, Greg has already been ripped off by somebody, and now the love of his life that he was blessed to find has unfortunately passed. So he takes Susan's extended family and his 4 children with Susan. After 25 years working, retires, relatively young age, 55, 56. 25 years, able to save money. Susan, life insurance. Gets a farm somewhere, Georgia, South Carolina. Well, 25 years later, a limo comes up. It's the United States government. They come up to him and address him by his real name. Turns out that his brother is now king because his father unfortunately passed. And his brother has a gripe with the United States and the European Union because his sister is dying of cancer and he believes they have the cure. He's very upset, very frustrated, and he wants to start a war with the European Union and cut them off. And Greg's last car, how can he do this? It's such a tiny country, they don't even have an army. Turns out that Philip had a daughter, Karen. And Karen, he married off to a tribe in Africa, in another fictional country. So the two kingdoms are now united, and this African country is tired of the United States and Europe abusing their resources too. So now we have two tiny countries with a mutual interest and a kingdom by marriage. And since the European nation has all this money stocked up, and the African nation has all these people and all the soldiers, but they lack finances, they are able to team up to build and create quite havoc for Europe and the United States. And the United States is asking him to intervene for peace, because even though they don't think they can win, there'll definitely be losses on both sides. A lot of pain and suffering. So, reason why I had it be they married African Americans, because I didn't want to be black and white. I wanted to be level playing field. Now my question, now I've said all this and done all this and talked about this, could artificial intelligence write this well? With all the characters, all the turns. Now, I'm not saying it can't write it, because I know after a couple of prompts, it could. It could definitely write a story just like I just said. It might not be able to get the original idea, but it definitely could write this story. But it wouldn't have the soul. Artificial intelligence takes things already written, tweaks them a bit, and puts them in a different way, in a different perspective. That's how it works. That's exactly how it works with art. That's why a lot of things are stolen. And there's always the thing that if you put 10,000 monkeys with 10,000 typewriters and wait 10,000 years, a novel will pop out at random, because you're just taking 26 letters and spaces and alternating it to different things. So you can string these words together, and with prompts and with some effort to try to refine it, it could write the story with me directing it and changing a couple of things and editing a few things. But would it be good? Would it have the heart and soul? Would it communicate how Greg/Carl feels when he gets left and jilted by that first woman? Will it relate in how he feels about how he feels when his true wife, his true love, passes? Second, what direction would this take the story in? Would it be commonplace, just he goes to his brother, convinces his brother not to start a war and make some kind of agreement? Would it continue and have his brother lead to all-out war and have him see the error's ways and the damage that he's causing to his people, to his new friends in Africa? What direction would it take?